Luminar's skyline usually sparkled with bright neon signs, animated billboards, and glittering tower lights. But tonight, the city felt wrong. Every digital screen flickered. Every street lamp buzzed weakly. The colors of the city that never slept were fading, replaced by a deep, unsettling darkness. Rumi, Mira, and Zoey stood on a rooftop overlooking the central district. Below them, the streets looked washed out, like someone had turned the saturation to 0. Zoey shivered. Did someone unplug the whole city? Mira closed her eyes, sensing the air. It's not power failure, it's being drained. Slowly, Rumi gripped her dagger. Something's stealing the city's energy and I can hear it. In the distance, a low, thundering bass beat pulsed through the streets. It wasn't from a club or a concert. It was deeper, rougher, wrong. The sound echoed off the buildings, making them vibrate like giant drums. Zoey frowned. That bass line is angry. It's a summoning rhythm, Mira said. Old demon magic. They dashed across rooftops, leaping from balcony to balcony, racing toward the sound. But the deeper they went, the darker the city became. The neon signs flickered until they died completely. Shadows stretched unnaturally long. Even the air felt heavier. Finally, they reached the source. A collapsed concert arena on the edge of the dark city district, the part of town citizens avoided after sunset. The arena's ruined stage glowed faintly with pulsing red cracks. Standing in the center was a huge, monstrous figure made of shattered speakers, broken subwoofers, and tangled wires. Its chest throbbed like a massive amplifier. Mira gasped. A Bass Fiend, I've only read about them. Rumi stepped forward. It's feeding on sound waves, using them to drain the city's energy. The creature slammed a giant speaker arm into the ground. A wave of distorted bass blasted outward like a shockwave. The girls dove aside as an entire row of streetlights shattered behind them. Zoey coughed as dust swirled. Cool, cool. So it's basically a walking sound cannon. The Bass Fiend roared, sending another bass shockwave that cracked the pavement like glass. Rumi steadied herself. We have to counter its rhythm. Mira tightened her grip on her staff. With something stronger, Zoey cracked her knuckles. Time for a remix. They jumped onto the ruined stage, forming a defensive triangle. The Bass Fiend pounded out another massive beat, but this time, Rumi sang a sharp, piercing note that sliced through the shockwave, splitting it in half. Zoey followed with a rapid rhythm tapped through her glowing boots, sending pulses of blue light that deflected the fiend's attacks. Mira swung her staff, creating rings of golden energy that stabilized the crumbling arena. The Bass Fiend staggered back, but only for a moment. It powered up again, its chest glowing dangerously bright. Mira's eyes widened. It's about to release a bass burst strong enough to level the district. Zoey grimaced. We need a counterbeat bigger than that. Rumi took a deep breath, steadying her nerves. Then let's create one. They formed a tight circle, touching hands. The glow from their weapons and mics merged into a swirling sphere of sound and light. Rumi began with a strong, steady melody that grew brighter with each note. Mira added a warm harmony that wrapped around the melody like golden threads. Zoey stepped into rhythm, her feet tapping a fast, glowing beat that pulsed like a heartbeat of the city itself. Their combined sound swirled upward, forming a towering pillar of light. The Bass Fiend roared and unleashed its massive bass burst, an enormous wave of red sound energy that raced toward them like a tsunami of noise. Rumi shouted, "Now!" The girls unleashed their combined beat. Their sound wave collided with the Bass Fiend's burst at the center of the arena. The two forces clashed in a blinding explosion of color: blue against red, warmth against distortion, hope against chaos. For a moment everything was silent. Then the Bass Fiend cracked once, twice, and shattered into thousands of tiny speaker fragments that tinkled harmlessly onto the ground. The darkness lifted instantly. Lights flickered back to life across the city. Neon signs glowed bright and colorful again. The air warmed. The deep bass pulse vanished, replaced by the soft hum of a city coming back alive. Zoey fell backward onto the stage, panting. "We just beat a skyscraper-sized sound monster with girl group power. That's honestly amazing." Mira flopped beside her. "I never want to hear another bass drop for at least a week." Rumi smiled as she looked over the restored city. "The dark city won't stay peaceful forever, but tonight we won." The three stood together as the first neon lights fully returned, bathing them in brilliant colors once more. They walked off the cracked stage, ready for whatever waited in the shadows because their harmony was stronger than any darkness.